So, this complete video series we will be talking about the animal Sepia. Today we will just discuss about the general characters of the Sepia. But in this complete unit, we all are going to discuss about the general character and classification, its habit and habitat, what are the external characters, then mental cavity, locomotion, economic importance. Not only this, we all are going to learn about the physiological part of the sepia. In that, we will cover the various system, body system, metabolic activity, how they do. In that, we all are going to learn in the detail about the digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system, and nervous system. Not only this, we will also have idea about the sense organ and reproductive system of the sepia. So shall we start with the general characteristic? Generally, they are marine animals of order Cephida. When we talk about their class, so they belongs to the cephalopoda. Note down the cephalopoda. Term cephalo means head, poda means the appendages. So the organism, those who all belongs to the cephalopoda, they all will bear the appendages on their head. So that you might have observed that the squid, the octopus, the nautilus, they all and all will have the head which is bearing the appendages. When we talk about the cuttlefish, so it is having the internal hard shell. The shell is having a very good economic importance, which we all are going to discuss in detail. This shell is actually calcareous, but it is also called as a bone, cuttle bone. Now, see, generally their name is cuttlefish, but interestingly, they do not belong to the Pisces, because generally we zoologists, we know that the fish belongs to the Pisces, but they are the mollusks. So, most of the time, in general terms, we say all general people, they consider all the seafood as the fish, but and they are calling cuttlefish, but they are belongs to the phylum mollusca. Now when we talk about the cuttlefish eating habits, so they eat the mollusks, crabs, shrimps, small fishes, octopus, worms, and they eat the small cuttlefish also. When we take about their nature, so their nature is, we understood that they are predator, but they also become prey. Now who prey on them? So dolphins, shark, means big fishes are there, no? They eat the cuttlefish, and seals, then seabirds, other big cuttlefish, they all just feed on them. When we talk about their average life, so average life is very good as compared to the other sea animal, it is 1 to 2 years. When we talk about the body symmetry, so they have the big head as compared to the other vertebrates. So largest brain to body size ratio they have. Now, cuttlefish is very much common into the Greco-Roman world. They, because of their unique brown pigment creatures, they release from its siphon when it is alarmed. We all are going to learn in detail about the ink gland in sepia. The word for in both Greek and Latin, sepia now refers to the reddish brown color sepia in English. When you will open your English dictionary, so in that you will find that this reddish brown color, their body color, they are more famous for their color, and their color is called as the sepia color. Now, when we talk about their size, so 15 to 25 centimeter size is the common size, but Sepia apama is one of the species which reaches about 50 centimeter in height, and big sepia can also weighs around 10.5 kg in mass. So it is a very favorite seafood. We will talk about its external feature. Now, when you will see the sepia, see this color is called as the sepia color. So, when we talk about their external feature, you can clearly observe that the body is divided into head, neck, and trunk, right? So, when we look at them, they have the fishy type appearance, and bilateral symmetry is there. Dorso-ventrally flattened body is there. Brownish, actually it is the sepia color. Height is approximate 20 centimeter. And as we know, the body is divided in three parts. Let us discuss about body parts in detail. First, we will talk about the head. Head is the very prominent part of the body. When you will observe the head, so it is almost globular into the form. Now, when you will see head carefully, you will find that it is having the large, big eye. So you will see the pupil shape is W. Here you can see it very carefully. Now, as we know that just now I have told they are cephalopod, so they will have the appendages or the locomotory organ on their head. So you will observe the five pair of arms are there. Out of that five pairs, the four pairs, that means the eight arms, they are very stout and tapering from the one end, and one arm is modified into the tentacles. Now, when we talk about the tentacles, so these are very long. It is about two-thirds of the body length, and they have the strongly. Here you can see the outer part of the tentacle. When you will see, so they have strongly convex outer surface and flat inner surface. Now when we talk about the arm, so this arm bears the four longitudinal rows of the sucker, and each sucker consists of the short thick stalk supporting shallow muscular cup. Now when we talk about this cup, so this has the membranous lid immediately within which a narrow horny rim is present. When we talk about the sucker, so name itself is suggesting that it is going to use for the sucking purpose, right? So suckers are used for the attachment when, or not only this sucker also creates the vacuum like pressure. So because of that, they just get stick on the body of the prey and they secure their prey in that way. When we talk about their arms, so the first pair of arm is farthest from the tentacle and it is present into the anterior preposition. When we talk about the second pair, so it is anterolateral. When we talk here, you can see very carefully first pair, second pair. Okay. So when we talk about the second pair of the arm, so it is present into the anterolateral. When we talk about the third pair of the arm, it is present lateral, and the fourth pair, that is the tentacle, it is present. These are the tentacles, posterior, lateral, and the fifth pair is posterior into the position, that is present the behind side. So the left arm of the fifth posterior pair is slightly modified in the case of the male. You can see this is the special diagram of it. This arm is used for transferring the spermatophore into the mantle cavity of the female. That means it has a role into the reproduction. So when we talk about this fifth arm, you have to note it, the left arm of fifth posterior pair. I repeat, the left arm of fifth posterior pair is modified into the male. It is also called as hectocotylized. Now you will find this arm will have some less number of the sucker because it has now what it does, it takes its arm inside its own cavity, collect all spermatophore and thereafter this arm will help to transfer the spermatophore inside the body of the female. When we talk about the arm and tentacles, so they consider as a part of the foot. Therefore, appendages along with the head are referred to as the cephalopodium. Now, next body part is the neck and trunk. Neck is very short. I think it's not looking also here. So you can see that neck is connecting head with the trunk. And now when we will talk about the trunk, so you can see the trunk is elongated. It is something shield shape. You can see. Now when we talk about the base, so base is broad, directed anteriorly and aboral posterior with a pointed fin. So this is the actually base. This is having a broad structure, and posteriorly it is having the fins. You can see the fins here. The fins are used for swimming. Anterior dorsal surface of the trunk is darker, slightly convex, and it is hard due to the presence of the shell inside it. Now when we talk about the posterior ventral surface, it is soft and flat. Next, we will talk about the mantle. Now, mantle or the pallium is a thick dorsal body wall from which the shell is secreted and also covers the visceral mass. So, when you will cut open it, so you will find on its dorsal surface it is hard and it is having the shell inside it. When we talk about the shell, so when you will remove the shell you will find the visceral mass. The free oral edges of mantle fit loosely around the neck on the interior surface of the trunk. When we talk about the mantle, so when we cut open the mantle externally, so you will find that head can be partially retracted internally with the spatial cavity which is called as the mantle cavity. Now this mantle cavity contains the viscera. Viscera means the stomach part and other bodily structure. Now next we will talk about the shell. Now when we talk about the shell, so shell of the sepia is, as I just now told you, it is present into the dorsal position. It is embedded internally and completely enclosed inside the cavity. Now when you will see here, sepia, the shell is not observed. It is completely here. You can feel like yes, some hard mass can be seen here. So the shell is completely enclosed inside the mantle cavity, and this is the completely cut open shell of the sepia. Now, when we talk about the shell, so it is how it is formed, how it is secreted. So it is secreted by the epithelial lining of the mantle. Shell of the sepia is also called as the cuttle bone. I had already discussed with this. One more name is there for this shell, that is called as sepiostare. So when we see anteriorly, so anteriorly you can see the shell is flat and oval in shape, pointed aboral end called as the rostrum. It is projecting into the sharp spine. You can see here. It is a non-living structure and it is formed of thin, closely arranged layers of laminae of calcium carbonate, which is covered by the catenoid material. When we talk about the laminae, so this laminae encloses air space between them to make the shell lightweight. Now, next we will talk about the skin. So, the skin of the living cuttlefish undergoes frequent changes of the colors. Now, I will show you how it happens, and one small video into the next lecture. You will observe in that whenever they go and they feel the threatening, so threatening from the predator, so what they do, they try for the common flesh. So that particular time they changes their body color, and you will find that their means color is keep on changing. That video is also available on YouTube. Just type changing color in sepia, so you will find it. So they have capacity to change their color. Now what make them to change this color? So they have the special type of the chromophores on their skin. So this helps them to change their skin color. So very frequently they can change the color of their skin. This phenomena is brought about by the numerous large pigmentous cell, the chromatophore and iridocytes, which are embedded in the dermis of the skin. Then dermal layer, they have the various pigments, and these pigments are the sensory pigments. When they senses the danger, so that particular time they can change their colors. When we talk about the chromatophores, so they have the three type of chromatophore. First is reddish, yellowish, brown and orange. Now when we talk about the chromatophore, so how they change? So by alternate contraction and expansion of the chromatophore, fishes of the different color shades will pass rapidly over the surface of the body. Means different chromatophore at the time of the changing of the color, they just arrange themselves and they can change their color. The chromatophores are less on the ventral side as compared to the dorsal side. Why? Because when they swim, so that particular time you will find that their body dorsal surface is observed. So they have the threatening when their dorsal surface is observed. So ventral surface is just present the underneath. So for that particular reason, they don't have so much of the threatening. Now when we talk about the group of they have the special type of cells. Now chromatophore role you understood that they are responsible for giving the color. Now when we talk about the iridocytes, so these are the special group of the cells which lying beneath the chromatophores. Now these cells are transparent cells with reticulate structure. They diffract the light, producing the characteristic iridescence of the skin. So because of that, their skin looks shiny. The color changes are controlled by the central nervous system whenever they are getting the threatening. I skipped one point here. Now you can see this trunk. So this trunk is having the frill-like structure. So this frill-like structure is nothing but the fins. Now what is the role of the fins? Now you will when you will see their body surface, so this frill like fins is also called as a parapodium. These are present on the lateral side. I hope you know the lateral and ventral. So lateral means this border side. So this border side, you can see this frill-like structure is there. So this frill-like structure is nothing but the fins. Now these fins are separated by the cleft at the aboral end, and these fins are used for the locomotion. One more organ is used for the locomotion, that is called as the funnel. So this is about the external features of the sepia. Just give a quick review. We have learned that body is divided into the three parts: head, neck and trunk. When we talk about the head, so head is the most prominent region into the body, and it is globular with the W-shaped pupil, and it has the arms. Five pairs of arms are there, in which the two are modified. When we talk about the tentacles, so these tentacles have the cup-like structure that is having the sucker line, and this sucker creates the vacuum pressure which helps into the holding of the prey. Now the other tentacles, they are very stout to hold the this prey. Not only this, they fifth pair of the left arm is also used in the case of the male for the reproduction purpose. Now neck is just simply connecting link between the head and the trunk, and when we talk about the trunk, so trunk is elongated and modified part, and it is having the flat convex surface on the this your dorsal side, and when we talk about the ventral side, so it is just flat. When we talk about the dorsal surface of the trunk, it is hard. Why it is hard? Because of the presence of the shell, and the flattened surface or your this posterior surface is soft. Now when we talk about the boundary, so it is bordered with the frill like fins, and this fin is also having role into the locomotion. Then we discuss about the mantle and the shell. So mantle is the region where which is the having the posteriorly, it is nothing but the trunk cavity, you can say. It is covering the your shell, and because of the shell it is giving the hard dorsal surface which becomes unfavorable food, or most of the organism they just avoid sepia to eat only because of its hard shell. Then we discuss about the skin. Skin is having iridocytes as well as the chromatophore, and this make a very special, it gives special structure, it makes skin colorful and shining. Now let us talk about the classification of the sepia. Now when we talk about the classification have a very important role in the zoology. The study of classification is called as taxonomy. Taxonomy means systematically arranging an organism into its perfect class. Now, what happens? We have discovered so many animals, and many of the animals look similar with each other. So, see, whenever we go to the mall, so we observe that the things are classified in a particular section. In the grocery section, you will find only the items of the grocery. In the clothes side, same way when you enter in your home. So in home, what makes your drawing room different from the kitchen? Drawing room have the things which you sit and make the comfort. In the kitchen, you have the cooking material, right? So this will be classified. So same way the animals are also been classified. The reason behind classification is that it helps to understand the systematic position of an animal into the kingdom Animalia. So when we talk about the classification, so Whitaker has given the 5 kingdom classification. So in that the Sepia belongs to the Animalia. What are the other kingdoms? These are the first is the Monera, then we have the Protozoa, then we have the special phylum for the fungus, then plants and the Animalia. So Animalia, now when we talk about the Animalia, so Animalia, the previously, the first phylum Protozoa was added in that, but now the kingdom Animalia starts with the Porifera. So then it has the various phylum. 10 phylums are there. So in that, the how to by heart the sequence. It is very important to by heart this sequence. So how I remember KPC of GS? I remember in that most KPC kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, subgenus. So when we talk about the kingdom, so kingdom Animalia, whatever animals we are going to learn, all this belongs to the kingdom Animalia. Then phylum. Phylum is the another level in that, as now I told you that the phylum is having the second level. So phylum mollusca. Now phylum mollusca have so many classes in there. Now you will find the class. You can also have the superclass, then subclass, superorder, suborder, superfamily, subfamily. But here I have just taken the class, order, family. But when we talk about the classification, you can also have the kingdom, phylum, subphylum, superclass, class, subclass, superorder, order, suborder, superfamily, family, subfamily. This way we can do the classification. So when we talk about the class of the sepia, it belongs to the cephalopoda. Now see, phylum mollusca comprised of the animals, soft-bodied animals with the shell. So this is the only animal which is having the internal shell. Okay, so next is class Cephalopoda. I told you the importance of the Cephalopoda, that the this class animal usually have the appendages on their head. Now the next order, when we talk about, it is having the order Sapida. Order most of the time ends with the A, and family AE. Now family is Sapidae, genus is Sepia, subgenus is also Sepia. Oriphanels and others are also there. Apama, many are there, but here I have not taken that example. Now, how to write the binomial nomenclature of this class? Cultrata is also there. This species. Most of the time, subgenus is also called as the species. So, Oriphalus and other genus are also there. Now, see how you are going to give the binomial nomenclature. In the case of the binomial nomenclature, whenever you are writing the binomial nomenclature, which is in general terms, we use scientific names. So, whenever you are writing the scientific name of any animal, you need to remember that if you are typing it, you will type it into the italic font, and whenever you are writing it in your book, so make sure that you will underline. Now how you are going to underline? Suppose I am giving you example Sepia orphanalis, so you will underline Sepia differently and orphanalis differently. Understand? Don't give a single underline, don't make the underline double, because these are the scientific rule, and your genus will be written first, then thereafter we write the species. So whenever you are writing the genus, you will capitalize the genus, and your species will be starting with the small letter. So these are the certain rules you must remember for writing the scientific name. Anytime if you will write it, it is incorrect, and whenever you are typing it, just simply make the font italic. But if in writing also you have very good command in writing italic, and you are writing a standing type, so that particular type you can give difference like that. So this is about the general characteristics and the external features of the sepia. Next class will discuss about economic importance and other features of the sepia. So at this note, I will stop